headphones and just be present in this moment for the next 45 minutes. All right, please put your hands together and welcome Amir, Massey, and Ryan.
All right. Thank you so much, Ross, for that amazing introduction. Very energetic. So again, thank you guys so much for coming in. I know we might have seen some of you guys last week for our careers lecture, and today we're just going to be talking an extension of that for your majors, post-secondary majors. We noticed that there was a couple questions in the Slido that we had last week. I'm just going to very briefly go over them. You guys can come talk to me afterwards. The first question was about getting into UBC. I'd say, as if you guys know, there are two aspects to an application to UBC. You have your grades and you have your personal profile. I'd say the two of them are weighted very equally. So if you're lacking in one, you should be focused on getting the other one airtight. So there's a lot of wiggle room basically. It's not like, oh, you have to be a top 99% student, have to do this, and this. They have a lot of flexibility and they're very open. So definitely give it your best. And there was another question about medical school. If you guys want to come talk to me afterwards about that, I would be happy to answer any questions, but we're just not going to go into that right now. We have the Slido link here. You can stop me at any time during the presentation, or if you don't want to stop me, you can put the question in here and we'll answer it. But if you do, just feel free to raise your hand. We'll answer your question as we go. Don't feel shy. All right. So again, we're the Edify Foundation. We're a bunch of UBC and SFU students who are trying to help high school students such as yourself go through life. These are resources that we thought would be very beneficial for us if we had them in high school. So we're kind of trying to provide them and pay for them. All right. My name is Massey.
My name is Brian.
And we're both physiology students at UBC. And if you guys have any questions specific to those, we're always open to answer. All right. So today we're going to be focused on choosing your major. And as a part of this presentation, we're going to be going over three overall topics. Why does it even matter to think about your major? What are the factors to consider when selecting your major? And how you can, as a high school student, have some strategies to help pick your major and see what's best for you. First thing, well, why does this even matter, right? You're a high school student, you have so much on your plate, right? You got school, you got sports, you got friends. Why should you even care about this at this stage? Well, there was a study done recently at UBC that showed that your academic success, how well you do in school, actually matters on these factors that have to do with you being in the right place at the right time, right? Your sense of belonging in a major, your academic resources that are available to you, and your personal development while you're studying. I want to focus on that point there, the sense of belonging, the support that you get from your teachers, the support you get from your peers that are in the same major as you, and your classroom comfort matter actually more than your individual factors such as your IQ, your previous performance in high school. So being in the right place, being in the right major, being in a major that you are actually passionate about and you care about matters in terms of your success. And one thing to keep in mind, with having said that, you have to have the major that you're passionate about, you have to be in the right path, there comes a lot of pressure with picking the right major, right? Picking the right path. But one thing we were going to repeat over and over again is that the path to having a career you want, to having the life you want, is not a straight line. You can get to it in a lot of different variations, and there's going to be a lot of things that you have expectations for that are not going to happen, and you're going to be happy that they didn't happen because they open doors for other things.
So, similar to choosing your career, what are some factors you think you should consider when choosing a major? And I'm going to open up the floor to you guys. Anyone have any ideas of what you think you should consider? And if you were at the presentation last week, these are pretty similar factors you consider, right? We also brought candies as a reward for this debate. Yeah. Yeah, you can go. Great. Very much.
Yes, go ahead.
Like, kind of adding on to hers, like what you really enjoy doing, what you find most rewarding out of the thing that you are doing. Thank you.
Perfect. Anyone else? Yeah. Sorry. Money?
Oh, that's a great answer. That's an amazing answer. I love that. And there's so many aspects to that too, right? The money you have now, the money you want to make in your future. So,
Anyone else? No? Oh, yeah, sure. Values. Perfect. Yeah. And yeah, then you guys really covered. We kind of categorize it into four categories, right? So what am I interested in, right? What am I good at? So what are my strengths? What are my lifestyle goals during school? So this is a new one, right? What's my work-life balance going to be like during my degree? And lastly, what are my career goals? So that kind of relates to the money aspect there. And so somewhere at the intersection of those four things, we hope that you can find a major that combines all these aspects. So how do you determine what your interests are? These are some questions we think that you should consider when you're kind of figuring out what your interests are coming out of school. And it relies on both your academic interests and your non-academic interests, right? So in school, what subjects are you excited to learn about? Is it math? Is it English? I don't know, physics? Anything, right? And within these courses, what are the activities and projects that you really enjoy doing? And then beyond that, and we think that's really important to consider, is outside of school, what do you enjoy doing? What are your hobbies? What do you like to do in your spare time? And so we think that you should take time to identify and literally just write down what your interests are in and out of school. And this way you kind of have this concrete idea of what all your interests are within your life. And if you're unsure, that's okay. Take some time to explore, right? If you're in grade 12, you still have lots of time. You can take all year this year, and even during the summer and even within your first year to explore what your options are. And some ideas that you could do are, you can take free online courses. So maybe if you're interested in computer science, Harvard has a great online free computer science course. It's called CS50. I've taken it myself, and I thought it was wonderful in getting insight in what computer science is like in general. Some other things are just volunteering internships. I'm sure you guys are aware. Getting exposure outside of school to these kinds of experiences can give you some insight into what these fields are like. And lastly, doing informational interviews. So this can just be like general chats, casual chats with people that you know in your life, whether it be teachers, students that are currently in university, or professionals that you know in the field. And lastly, it's okay not to know, right? University is a great time to kind of explore all these ideas, and you'll have time to explore with these courses that you're taking in university. But we want to emphasize that your degree is a significant investment of your time and money. University is going to be the first time for most of you where you're actually paying to go to school, so picking something that you like doing will make your experience more worthwhile. And now, identifying your strengths and interests. What are some questions that you consider, right? What learning style suits me? Am I an independent learner? Do I like group work? And relating into that, like what kind of environment do I like learning in? Do I like hands-on work? Do I like writing essays? Do I like doing work in groups? And beyond that, what are some weaknesses you have or some gaps that you want to fill in terms of what skills you want to learn and improve upon? So we want you to reflect and identify what you're good at and what you're not so good at. But that being said, it's kind of hard to be super critical of yourself because sometimes we're not really good at assessing what we're really good at and what we're necessarily bad at. So a really good strategy is to reach out to those around you. Reach out to your friends, your family, coaches, teachers, counselors, and ask them to identify what your strengths and weaknesses are, whether it be soft skills or technical skills. So maybe you're really good at talking to people, maybe you're really good at establishing relationships between others, or maybe you're just really good at writing essays. Maybe technical writing is something that you're really good at. So hopefully in some area you'll be able to get a pattern of what things you're good at, and you can use this to relate to what kind of degrees that you can pursue in the future. And so university is not a walk in the park, right? So if you can identify what you're really good at and double down on your strengths, this will really make sure that this kind of guarantees your success when you're pursuing a degree. And something that we really want to address here is work-life balance during your degree. Not all degrees are built equal in terms of the workload that you have. And so some questions that you want to consider really are how much time do you want to devote to coursework during the degree? How much freedom do you want when you're taking, in terms of what courses do you want to take? Do you want more flexibility in the choices that you have in terms of courses you're taking? And beyond that, do you really want to specialize in this really specific area, or do you want to be able to explore and get a broad idea of what you want to do? And so yeah, like I mentioned, course load varies between majors, and some will just naturally demand more than others. For instance, like for engineering at UBC, first year engineering at UBC is notorious for just having a really heavy course load. So know that you might not necessarily have time for personal projects, or not as much time compared to if you pursue a different program. And beyond that, certain majors will have more flexibility in the courses that you're taking, right? There are new majors now that allow you to integrate and implement different subjects from different specializations, and you get to kind of customize your path for university. So one thing you should really do is identify what your expectations are and what your priorities are during school, and what you want to get out of your degree, and how you can balance this with things you're doing outside of school, right? Maybe you have to work part-time to fund your education. Maybe you need to, you have some personal projects you want to work on. So really identify what balance you want to have between, this time you're spending studying and the time you're doing other things. And lastly, yes, you should really consider your goals when you're picking your major. So are there any specific skills and qualifications that you need for your future program or career that you have, that you want? And beyond that, maybe one place you could start is what are the typical career prospects for graduates that the program you're interested in, right? We want to emphasize that in many cases, your major doesn't dictate your career. But that being said, some postgraduate programs and jobs do require specific qualifications. So examples of this in BC are nursing and engineering. If you want to be a registered nurse in BC, you need a nursing degree. So recognizing this and making sure that you build qualifications if you're interested in something like this is really important when you're considering your major. And lastly, if you're not sure and you want to have an idea of, if you have a general idea of what you want to start as, but you're not sure what major you should go to, one thing that you can do is reverse engineer the process, right? So go online, find people on LinkedIn, or find job postings on Glassdoor or Indeed, and see what qualifications they're asking for. Maybe this will give you a good idea of what you need to fulfill when you're pursuing your degree, right? And so, yeah, like we want to reiterate, your major doesn't always dictate your career options, but understanding what's required for the future job, career, program that you're interested in the future will save you time and money when and not having to change around.
All right, before we get into these pathways and things that are related to your major, I wanted to ask any questions, anything sticking out that we can answer? Yes.
How do you know what the course level is?
That's a great question, and we'll get to that in a little bit.
So we'll get to that, and there's always resources online that you can look up to. It's much easier than it is intimidating. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're going into these things, it's very intimidating to be like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But there's sufficient resources online that you can do it, and we'll get into that later. So one thing we wanted to highlight is often when high school students are transitioning into uni, there's this mindset of, okay, I'm gonna do my 4 years, I'm gonna get out of here with my degree, right? Your degree isn't just one line, as we mentioned before. There's a lot of there's a lot of pathways you can go into, and we're gonna go into those pathways right now. So your major is obviously the focus of your degree, but in addition to that, there's a lot of flexibility for you to explore other topics that are not what you're studying right now, right? You could be studying anatomy, but you're like, well, I really like the Spanish language, so I'm gonna take some courses around that. You can do that. There's space provided for you to do that. Another option that you can do in terms of your degree is a combined major. If you're at university, you're taking courses, and you're kind of torn between a couple of subjects, but you also don't want to do extra work, right? You want to have the flexibility of taking random courses that you're interested in, but you also want to focus on more than one thing. You can take a combined major. This is 2 or even more specialties that you can load into one course load. So you still have flexibility, as I mentioned, but you're focusing on different subjects. And these are usually complementary to each other. So you'd see combined majors of chemistry and biology, biology and ecology, stuff like that you can put together very comfortably. Another option is a double major. So this is when you are increasing your course load actually. So these are majors that you're taking completely separately, and they're full specialization. So think about it as getting 2 degrees at the same time. They usually take a little bit longer than a normal single degree, and they take up a lot of time for you to fulfill everything. If a normal degree takes around 4 years, double major usually takes 5 to 6 years. But again, you're going to be very specialized into 2 fields that you're very passionate about, and it's going to be a very unique thing that you can carry over to your career afterwards. An honors degree is a very intense specialization in one thing. So think about a double major workload, but it's just on one specific topic. Usually, they come with a higher workload. I would say a little bit less than a double major, but there is a required project at the end to say, look, I focused so much on this one topic during my 4 years of university, and here's what I have to show for it. This amazing project that I've done over the last year to show how intelligent I am. And lastly, there are minors. If you're very passionate about one specific topic that is outside your major, you have a choice to specialize in it through taking different courses. A minor is usually less courses than you need for a major, usually 1/3, and it allows you to really focus on one alternative thing. I also want to mention that you don't need a minor if you want to explore different fields, right? You can just take a course that you're interested in, and if, for example, in first year, if you're really passionate about it, you can be like, oh, well, I can fill that extra space, that flexibility that I have with that one thing that I'm passionate about and get a minor. That's what it basically is. Any question on these? Anything that was not clear? Great. So, again, as I said, your degree is a very personal thing, and you are given opportunity to make it as unique as you want, right? These are examples of some of our friends actually that are like this. I have a friend who's doing a major in chemical engineering, and that's all that he's doing. But he's very focused on it. He has a bunch of internships around it that he's filling up his time with, basically, and that's it. I also know someone who is in computer science and philosophy, a double major in computer science and philosophy, two seemingly very unrelated things, but because they're passionate in it, they were able to pursue that, and that's something that they wanted to pursue. That's something that they wanted to extend their degree to. Combined major in biology, chemistry, and ecology. Again, it's that thing, the combined thing of wanting to put multiple majors into the same thing without having an extra workload. And I have a friend who's also in anatomy with a minor in Spanish, as I mentioned, right? Again, very, very not related, but if that's something that you're passionate about, there's ways to pursue it. Other ways that universities support you personalizing your degree and personalizing your major are things such as personalized majors. These are examples such as integrated sciences and integrated engineering at UBC, which are majors that you can literally make up yourself, right? You can go into their office, the integrated science office, when you're applying for majors, and tell them, listen, I want to integrate neuroscience with public health, right? That's something I want to do, and I want to take these courses in order to educate me enough to do that, right? They will look at your proposal, and if it's feasible enough, if it has enough, validity to it, you can do that, right? It's basically just like a carte blanche of courses and majors that you can do. Other examples are the Bachelors of Integrated Studies at University of Fraser Valley, which is the same thing, right? You have a project in mind, you have a specific thing in mind, and you're allowed to take as a variety of courses that you need to make that happen, to make your education happen. Another thing is interdisciplinary minors. When you get into university, you'll get this idea that a minor is just taking one specific kind of course, right? I'm going to take 5, 6 chem courses and get a minor in chemistry, something like that. But that doesn't have to be that way. There are some minors that allow you to take multiple course varieties in order to achieve the same goal, to basically be around the same topic. For example, there's a minor called HESO in UBC, which is Health and Society. And in order to get this minor, you can take psychology courses, you can take public health courses, you can take anatomy courses. As long as you have a sufficient number of them, you can take whatever you need that's relevant to that minor.
Okay, and beyond all this, we wanted to highlight some opportunities during your degree that you can use to supplement and kind of add on additional experiences other than just coursework. So, one thing that we really want to highlight, all 3 of us have done this, is cooperative education, co-op in short. And this you can think of as like an internship. So you can take anywhere from 4 to 16 months off of school. You're still considered a full-time student, but you're getting paid full-time work experience during your degree. Additionally, you can do exchange. So UBC, most schools will have partner programs where you can go abroad and either study, work, or do research at a different institution. And lastly, UBC, this is something we really want to highlight from UBC specifically, is something called Global Seminars, where it's a course that's designed around traveling. So the professor has designed this course. So for example, currently this year, it varies year to year, but this year there's this course looking at regional differences in conservation efforts. And so professor, first you'll take like 2 to 3 weeks of lecture, and then within the subsequent weeks, they're going to Iceland, right? Or there's this course in Faculty of Arts at UBC, where they're studying the Asian Canadian immigration system. And first they're going to go to Chinatown within Vancouver to do some field work, and then they're going to China for 2 weeks to kind of explore this within and explore this idea, right? So all of these experiences are things that you can use to supplement your degree and provide some gainful experience. And we speak, I think we all speak from experience that we really wish that we had known before, because you're able to plan your degree around this and plan what majors you have around this. And something to really highlight with like co-op and exchange is that the opportunities that are available to you might be dependent on the major that you pick, right? The jobs that are available within the portal often require specific technical skills, and when you're in first or second year, right, you might not have that many opportunities to gain these technical skills. So the major that you choose might be able to supply these skills. Like, for example, if you're computer science, you have personal coding projects that you get to work on, right? So if you're applying to a software engineering job, you can put this on your resume and say that, okay, I've worked on this coding project in the past, and this makes me a stronger applicant, right? But yeah.
So before we get into this very busy slide, any questions about co-ops, majors, minors, honors, anything of that sort? All right, great. So again, this is a very busy slide. I'm not going to go through every single thing that's on here. I just wanted to put it in here to show you guys the variety of majors that are offered at a university such as UBC. As you guys can see, there's some very interesting things here. You can study astronomy if you want right after first year, right? So you get in, and instead of focusing on like the stuff that you're like not interested in, right? You don't have to learn about bio anymore. You can just straight up just look at stars. And there's a lot of other things. We've included links, and I think it's okay if we share these slides.
Yes, we will.
Perfect. You guys can go in there. There are all of these links are links to faculties at UBC, and you can see you can just do research and see if any of these are something that you're interested in. We have the same thing here for SFU. Again, you guys can see it's different, but it's similar, right? You have the same theme of just science, applied science, arts, and business. And these are just some example programs that you guys can look into afterwards. All right, what does the path look like to getting to deciding what your major you're going to go to? Again, I completely understand as high school students, it's something that may seem overwhelming or may seem too far in the future, but there are things that you can do right now to kind of help you out in this distant journey. First thing is obviously getting into a major, right? For UBC specifically, and we're going to use UBC and SFU as examples. Most of the processes are very similar, but there are some differences between schools here and there. So UBC, you have to get in, you have to get into the faculty of your choice. Again, those are, if we go back, so you have to pick between one of these, and there's a bunch more. We just didn't have space to include them. Yes?
What's the last one on the right?
This one?
Yeah.
That's UBC kinesiology.
Is that not part of science?
It's not part of science, so very good question. My brother is actually in UBC kinesiology, and they have these streams that are specifically focused on either science of kinesiology, so science of moving around, science of sport, social behavior STEAM, social and behavioral STEAM, which is basically your it's the impact of sport within the community, and multidisciplinary science, which is one of those personalized degrees that you can choose what you want to go into. So yeah, it's a very, very cool program. It's a small program and allows a lot of access and a lot of resources. Again, if you guys have any questions about anything specific, feel free to say and we can tell you our knowledge. Perfect. So yeah, as I said, you just at high school you just have to apply to one of those general things, like your faculty that you want to get into. In this point, you have a lot of flexibility, right? during grade 12 and when you get in first year to select what exactly you want to go into. Even if you're not sure about your faculty, you can change that, right? Like it's not something that, oh, I got into faculty of science, I have to stay in faculty of science and get a Bachelor of Science. You can change at any point, especially at first year. It's extremely easy for first years to switch faculties if they want. But yeah, so right now, what you could do in terms of your major is go into those resources that we have, do a quick search of coming up with a short list of things that you might be interested in, and going into their requirements to see what you might need in first year university. And when it comes time, hopefully everyone gets into every program that they're applying for. When it comes time to actually pick courses for first year, you really want to, again, focus on those prerequisites that we talked about and see what you need in order to get into the career that you want and the major that you want, so you can base your first year around that. Oh, there we go. After first year and during second year, during first year, you have an opportunity to apply for the majors that you're interested in, and with the prerequisites you have. But again, you're afforded the space to look around and see what other things you want to explore during your degree. When you finish first year, you will be assigned a major that you apply to, and in second year, this is your official first year within your major, where you get to take the courses that are specific to that topic. And again, throughout this time, I'm going to repeat this multiple times because I wish someone told me when I was your guys' age that you're not restricted to one thing, even after you're put in a major, right? So feel free to explore. For some degrees, specifically honors or some streams in engineering in UBC actually, you have to apply again in third year. This is if you want to specialize in your specialization. I know there's a mechanical engineering program that you have to apply again if you want to be like a very specific stream of it. And for honors applications, you also have to apply again to declare that you want to do honors. Next, we're going to talk about SFU. SFU is a little bit more flexible. As you guys saw in UBC, it's very like step. SFU is a bit more flexible with the way they do their majors. First, obviously, like UBC, you have to pick a faculty you're interested in and get in. Was that a question I saw back there? No?
No, we're just.
So you get into the faculty that you're interested in, look up the courses, look up the majors, and see what you need to take in first year in order to qualify for the majors you need. For SFU, there's a long process and there's a lot of flexibility given to you. They say that you can even pick your major and go undeclared until end of third year. But if you want to finish within a timely manner of the 4th year, 5-year thing, you have to usually declare a major by the end of second year. So you have this time in first, second, and even third year to look into the majors that you're interested in, take courses, look around, see what you like. But at the same time, you should be fulfilling the degree requirements that you need for the majors that you're interested in. So that would look like you taking the courses that their faculty websites recommend. And lastly, you would just apply to what you're interested in and get assigned to it, graduate with that degree, and whatever else you were interested in doing that time.
Okay, so we've gone over some factors you can consider, the process of choosing a major. So does that mean like once you've decided on the major that you want to do, you can just declare it and that's it? Depends on the school, right? UBC, something that we really want to address is that if you're going to UBC, most programs, you have, as Masi highlighted, require you to reapply to the major either in first or second year. And when you're applying, your GPA is really important. Some majors are just more competitive than others, and that's just the nature of the major. So that's really something to keep in mind when you're choosing these majors, right? And beyond that, as Masi mentioned, each of these majors will have their different prerequisites. So when you're scheduling your courses, make sure that you fulfilled each of these prerequisites so that you know you have the option of applying to these majors. And lastly, as Masi mentioned again, there are different paths to exploring the same topic. You don't have to go into a physiology major just to study physiology, right? You can do an integrated sciences program at UBC, for example, where you can study the exact same things, just with more flexible course study. And so we want to touch on that question that you had earlier, was how do you research the courses that you have and what courses you need to take, right? So we're going to give an example of our program. So if you just Google UBC Science Specializations, you'll find this page right here. So this is basically a list of all the specializations available in the UBC Faculty of Science, right? And if we click on Cellular and Physiological Sciences, our program, you can see that you get a description, a synopsis of what the course load is like and what things you're going to be studying, and you get a few links, right? So we want to highlight the academic calendar and the program website. So sometimes the program website might not have that much information, but most universities will have an academic calendar entry. And within this entry, you can find all the courses that you're required to take and what room you have for electives and everything, right? So here you can see all the credit hours that you're expected to take within your first year, for example. And these are the general courses that you're required to take. And then these small superscripts are just notes that you might be able to take a substitute course for this course that's listed. So, yes.
I was just going to add on to that is that because we're a North Shore school, a lot of us are thinking maybe we want to go to Capilano University and then do a transfer for second year. When you are doing those transfer credits and you're looking at the programs, having this list is really beneficial because these are the courses that you would try to find an equivalent at CAP and then transfer them to UBC so that you could go into the program that you wanted to. So this is a really great way to find the information of what courses to take.
And I'd say when you are thinking about that, academic advisors are a resource that are often very underused. So if you have an academic advisor in high school or an academic advisor in university, they could be very, very helpful in making sure your process is easier than harder. Because if you're like missing one course, one credit, it can be so painful to not be able to transfer into the program you want just because you missed one thing, right? So if you use those resources that are provided to you, especially in university, it can make your life so much easier.
Wonderful. And yeah, so this expands just beyond our program, right, or any science program. If you're in engineering, any arts program, and Scholar School of Business at UBC, you can do the exact same thing for any program that you're interested in. And again, this expands to SFU, any other school basically, where you can search up the program that you're interested in, and then generally there will be some academic calendar entry where you can see the courses that you're expected to take. And so we've done a lot of talking. If you guys want to join us in this activity, we're just interested in what majors that you're interested in.
I am noticing some very niche things pop up here. So, some things I want to talk about. Forensic pathology. You would think that that's a very niche thing and that like not a lot of schools are going to have the programs that you need, but it's actually a very common thing. SFU, UBC, and I believe CAPU all have programs that are focused on specifically forensic sciences and forensic pathology. So that's something I definitely encourage you guys to like look into if you're interested in it. Computer science, good. That's what makes you the money. Anyways. So again, like there are so much variety within the computer science programs that are offered within different universities. So definitely try to look into those and try to see what fits your interest best, right? Like in UBC, for example, there's a computer science degree in the Faculty of Sciences, or there's a computer engineering degree in the Faculty of Engineering. You can look into the differences and see which one's best for you. It's just like, so you don't, again, end up in the wrong major or whatever, right? What else? We have medicine, physiology, medical, biomedical engineering. So all of these I want to say if you're looking to go into the medicine and the healthcare industry, there's a lot of flexibility both in terms of the careers that are there as well as the paths that you can take to get there. So don't think, for example, that, oh, I want to get into this super competitive like medical school program. I have to take bio, I have to take this. That doesn't matter. For a lot of postgraduate degrees that we have, like the schools have, there's a lot of flexibility, of course, right? You can go into a minor in acting. I saw acting here. You can go into a minor in acting, do 4 years, do an amazing job in acting, and then apply to medical school. That is completely fine for a lot of schools to do. So don't think that, again, you're restricted by a path that you want to go into. Great. I think we've covered. Anything else? Anyone else wants any information about these that I can maybe answer? No? Great. So we just have a couple more slides. We'll let you guys go soon.
Okay, so we recognize that coming out of high school and going to university is a pretty scary process, or it can be. And in a way, it's kind of like building a bridge as you're crossing it, right? I'm not sure if I have good enough GPA to get into my program. You know, I'm not even sure if I'm picking the right program that I want to be in. So, what are some common challenges that we've experienced, or we know people who've experienced them? How can you approach it?
That's a warning bell. They have 5 minutes to get to their class. So let's finish this slide real quick and then we'll
I'll zoom
go.
through this, right? So if I'm not sure about if my GPA is strong enough, research parallel paths, right? Again, there's more than one option, more than one path to get into this program that you want to study. Maybe you don't really enjoy one of the classes you're taking right now. Know that it's not necessarily representative of the entire major, and don't let it completely deter you from pursuing a program just because you had a bad experience with one course. And beyond that, you're not sure you made the right decision about major. Know that it's okay. Take some time to identify what it is that you're not liking, and then know that it's okay to switch out of it if you feel that you're unsure and you're just liking it.
All right, and again, thick slide. You guys can look at it later, but a couple of pointers that I wanted to give you guys at this point in your life, at this point in your academic career. Try to really connect with the people around you. The best resource you can have is someone that you know is in a place that you want to be, and just asking them how they got there. What were their challenges? That's a great thing. This can be a person in your network. This can be your teachers, advisors. This can be us, right? We have a link in the next slide that you guys can see if you have any questions. We have a mentorship program that you guys can reach out to. Don't limit yourself. Again, I think I've said this 50 times, but really try to pursue what you're passionate about and be kind to yourself. Again, there's a lot of flexibility with this. There's a huge issue that we see with university students is people who do bad on one course and think their entire university degree is over, right? There's a lot of flexibility. You don't have to feel miserable when you're doing post-secondary. So just look into the ways that you can make it fun. And as I mentioned, guys, there's a QR code here if you have any questions. We have a mentorship program where we can match you with someone else that's in a field that you want to go into. And yeah.
And we'll see you guys next week.